Greetings and salutations. I am your wonderful game master, master of ceremonies. 16-bit Scotty is my handle. Tonight, we are honored with the presence of the players who will be bringing this game to life. Over here is someone by the name of Richard. Would you like to introduce yourself and give me some thoughts of Richard?
Hello, I am Richard. Endgame. My tag is Chrono. Um, I am a smuggler, and I don't like people pulling out weapons on my ship.
That is fair. Totally fair. But it did happen. I'm just saying. Okay.
It did.
So we'll drop down to Zoe.
Yo, Zobras and real life moniker Dead Man Bones. Uh, I'm usually the sharpshooter, the blaster, the do as I say type deal. But right now, I have no clue what's going on because I'm getting dressed.
Yup, getting all of her armors and things that on reunited with the wonderful dented helmet that she has. Just like right around in here, just kind of concaved. Okay. Crom, let's go to you.
I am Gleese. I've been playing Crom, and I just want to fix my armor.
I could see that. Everything going on, like weapon being pulled, screaming, shouting, Crom's just standing there patiently, mentally thinking. So I wonder where I can get all the parts to fix that armor. That's not going to be easy. Alrighty, so dropping all the way down to Adamox. Adamox, my good man. Please introduce yourself and your character.
Yo, my name is Ginger Ninja. I also go by Ginger, and I will be playing Adamox Ethi, the mercenary who loves to try and fail to stab shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
stab.
Stab things. Things.
Things.
Poke. Okay.
Dirt.
I corrected myself to the Star Wars
You're
version.
fine. It's okay. So yes, these are our players, and this is our game of Dice Dorks in Danger. Thank you so much for joining us. And where we had last left off, um, everyone in this party right here had been captured, taken to a planet, and then they had actually escaped the planet. Was everybody okay? That was a loud bang.
Sorry, that was my
You're
mini
you're
fridge
fine.
closing. My bad.
And while everybody was kind of getting readjusted and figuring things out, Richard was talking to Jada about how much more money he owes and all these other kind of fun things. A woman had stumbled onto the ship and kind of was looking around. This woman appears to be a military type, kind of drunkish, and she's seems to be working with one of the people, actually two of the people that helped save uh, the crew, Nina Sato and Whisper. And Crom, Richard, and Adamox were kind of staying nearby, along with a force-using youngling that was just kind of standing there looking around, just taking in sights like kids do. And then suddenly this woman, half drunk, just whips out her pistol and points it at the kid. So that is where we are. And I'm actually going to toss everything over to Richard right now as this woman just kind of looks around, uh, pulls out the blaster and just points it right at the kid. What does Richard do?
Helps if I unmute. I'm going to first. I'm going to unmute.
There you go.
Okay. I'm going to look at her and immediately go. We weren't picked up from a planet, escaped from a rancor, to have a hole blasted in the side of the ship. Please put that away.
Give me a persuasion, which should be under the perception check if you do not have persuasion.
I only have a pip and con.
How in the
Well,
world is
are you
persuasion?
actually conning her, or you wanted to persuade her to put the weapon down?
I'm going to try and persuade her.
There you go.
Pray.
I will use one of those fancy character points.
Absolutely, you can use up to 2.
I
Just so
did
you
not
know.
like the look on the face.
I will use 2.
Okay. Oh, if it's a good
So
roll.
out of 5 dice,
Oh no. Oh no.
I got a 12.
Oh no. While I don't normally share my numbers and things that they're still new to the system, and I kind of also want to let you guys know that I had mentally figured that it was not going to be an easy task. In fact, it was going to be a moderate task of the higher degree. So 15 was what was required, and you missed it by 3. So, she's going to look at you and say, "Well, you should have thought about that before you brought this traitor along."
What
And
do you
then
mean traitor?
she's gonna kind of motion her head down to the kid's belt. He's got that lightsaber just kind of hanging there. She goes, "I know what that is."
Yeah,
Nina,
a kid from outside the galaxy.
she'll look at you funny. Nina's just gonna kind of toss her hands up and go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Everyone just calm down, calm down. Just please put the weapon away." And she will say her name. She'll say, "Aya, it's okay. Just lower it. Everything can be talked about." Aya will look at Nina, kind of a quick glance, and say, "No, I'm not putting the weapon down. We're taking this kid in, and we're going to get good credits for him. Empire is going to want him dead or alive. He can just come with us now, or I can shoot him, and then I can take him.
Can
Either
I
way,
look
I
at the
don't
kid
care."
real quick and say something?
Sure.
This is why everybody is going to assume you're a Jedi.
The kid kind of looks over, nods his head, and says, I can see that now."
Yes, I warned you about this.
And the kid will speak up and he'll say, "May I interject?" And I will kind of look at him weird and say, "What? What do you possibly have to say?" He goes, I, I've done nothing wrong." And then Aya will kind of get angered, and then she'll say, You've done nothing wrong. Your kind has done all kinds of wrong." And she goes on this massive tirade about how, um, the Jedi, the Force users, tried to overthrow the Galactic Republic, and Palpatine was able to swiftly put an end to their tyranny, and basically kind of says that, ever since then, things have been crap, but at least they've been better without your scum around. The kid's gonna kind of be like, "Oh, damn, oh, okay." Everybody present, which would be Richard, Crom, and Adamox, give me that new skill that I've added, which would be the perception insight, to see if you can notice something. You're gonna notice something, but to see if you can kind of notice, figure out what they're doing. This person's doing
Ooh, math.
math. And
And
after
I'm
this
And
one,
of course, I
assuming
couldn't get this the first time.
Hold on, I gotta pull up a calculator because that's easier for me.
do what you gotta do, man. No
I'm
shame.
assuming it's just a 2d2 for me.
Yes, if you don't have the skill, then yep, B2D2.
And then since I have it listed, but it's not got any bonuses, it's just the flat 3 for me.
Correct. If you've not put any points into it, then it's just the
Right.
dice. Yep.
16.
Game Master,
Yep.
how loud is Aya being?
We'll get to you in a second. I got
Okay,
you.
fair enough.
So
I
16?
got a 6 on a wild die,
Hey.
and I got a 9.
Nice.
That is 24 with a 5, a 2, 2 6s on the wild die, and a 5.
Fantastic. So everyone there is actually going to be noticing that Aya is completely fixated on this kid in the conversation where she's getting really worked up. Everybody's going to notice, except for her, that Whisper kind of takes a step back and is being very quiet about it and very cautious about it. And every so often, Aya just kind of looks around and she'll stop before she looks towards her. And it has the intention of, if for some reason this goes south, she apparently is either going to try to pin, tackle, or subdue her somehow. All right, so Zoe, you have just finished getting all your armament on. Your helmet feels a little funky with that dent in it, but otherwise everything's okay. You got all your weapons where you think you'd like them. What would you like to do, Zoe?
All right. Do I hear the ruckus at all?
No, you don't hear the ruckus, but you do know that there was conversation beforehand about basically trying to figure out what was going to go on, what was going to do. Given the circumstances, you probably are. I would think Zoe's going to be thinking she wants to talk with Richard or Jada or somebody. So while you're not hearing anything, there would be kind of a draw of, okay, I got my stuff back on. Let's go see what's going on.
Okay, so on comm. Boss, everything all right?
With that one, Aya gets twitchy and pulls out another pistol and points it at Richard now. So she's kind of got like that double cross thing where she's like, "Who's that?" Nina just
Like
goes,
to
"Whoa,
note-
calm down, calm down, calm down."
Sorry.
Note, I
No,
did
no,
say
Deadman has
on
two tokens on the
comm.
board right now, one of which is his profile picture, the other is his actual token.
Yeah, but not everybody has an earpiece comm.
Yeah, not
Fair
everybody
enough.
has an earpiece one. Yeah, so
Fair enough.
I'm gonna hold my hands out to my sides and just go, that would be a Mandalorian child.
she just kind of like gets this weird look on her face, like almost like she's not a fan of Mandalorians, or it is this puts a little bit of a damper if she was going to decide to shoot everything up.
That's a
Oh.
member of my crew asking how things are going.
And how are they going? She says, "You gonna hand the kid over to me?" And the kid's like, "Don't I have a say?" "Shut up, kid." Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, they're not going very well right now. I have a gun pointed at me.
On my way.
That's not over comms yet.
No, that's not overcome.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, you
Did not hear that then.
with all this little side thing
So-
going on, Zoe, you were not getting any response whatsoever.
So, do you want to point the gun down and I can say we're all good?
Zoe, what would you like to do?
Make her way towards last known location of people.
Technically, it would have been the
Alert.
cockpit, which I'll give you the
Yeah.
freebie. You'll walk into the cockpit and be like, "Oh, nobody's there." At that point, now that you're out of there and kind of start walking around in the main part of the hall, you hearing just slight conversation going, sounds like from the cargo hold.
All right. So they're still actively talking right now, right?
Yeah.
Do I sense aggression at all?
Nope, there's nothing that would suggest it. You just kind of hear slight talking and things that.
Well, then she's just going to walk out and make her way there.
All right. So go ahead and move your token to where you think that she would go.
As close to Richard as humanly possible, basically.
So you got access to your token? So everybody should be able to move their stuff.
I see him
So,
with 2 tokens, so.
Yes, I can move my token.
So you're over here. Whoop.
so Richard, would I take your left or your right? Am
There's
I a
a
left?
Wookiee on my right.
First, move your token.
I did.
Secondly, just as a heads up, so you know about the ship, these gray things right here are walls. So where you walked into is the engine room.
Fair enough.
So where you'd have to go would be basically from here to here. So if you
Oh.
want to move your token around where this dude is, near around Adamox,
So that you can access your token.
Right about there.
do it right there.
Well, now you're direct. Yeah, I was gonna say, now you're direct.
Now I'm on
Yeah.
top of Adam
Yeah.
Box.
So yeah,
Okay.
you'll basically kind of walk around and you'll just see this woman half drunk pointing blasters at the kid that you saved and Richard.
Okay. So I'm like, ma'am, could you please stand down?
Shut up, you, she says.
Oh, aggression, huh?
So,
She'll point
No.
one of the blasters at you and say, "Youngling, you've not seen aggression." At that point, Whisper's just going to jump on her and just kind of like get up underneath her arms and things of that and try to force her down best she can. She starts like kicking
Can I
around
help?
and everything else.
Can I help pin her down?
Absolutely. So go ahead and move on over, and then
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine. So yeah, go ahead and give me a strength check.
Okay.
Are we assuming she managed to drop the blaster she was holding in this struggle?
She hasn't shot him, and you haven't heard anything fall yet.
Where is my... I'm looking in the wrong spot for my character sheet. It's lost in the void.
Lost in the
May I-
void.
While Crom is actively helping hold the person
am I
down,
rolling
can I
just...
attempt to try and grapple the
Hold on, we're going
blasters
with
away
Crom first. Hold on.
from her?
do I need...
Wow.
What do I need? Just straight strength?
Yep, just straight strength.
Okay.
If you have brawling, I think this could be a brawling thing. So if you do have brawling, you can add it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep, absolutely.
What's the call, boss?
Paul's
We'll
weight
get
on
to
the
it in a minute.
dice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm hopeful for this one. 6.
Good.
Get it, Wookie.
I would like to think the Wookiee can get it.
6, 11, 12,
Okay.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
17? Oh, absolutely. Whisper seems like she's kind of struggling as Aya's kind of shaking back and forth. She has not dropped her weapons yet. Wookiee comes in. How would the Wookiee imagine it or do it? Because I'm imagining Aya's arms are up like this, and she's more or less got her kind of in a full headlock, full Nelson headlock kind of thing, and she's kind of kicked at one of the knees to get her down to a knee, or at least one knee.
I grab her by the legs and just look at it's Whisper?
Yeah.
And I just look at her and go, and with my head motion up, and
Okay, so yeah, she kind of does, and then let's see if she can actually make that proper alignment. We will use one of the new dice here.
and ouch.
Right? Oh
Slips
yeah,
out, head
I'm
hits
liking
ground.
that. 18,
Hey,
24,
she's
25,
down.
26, 27, 28, 29.
Is anybody else getting Rebby from Black Lagoon feels from this token?
37.
I haven't watched Black Lagoon.
Neither have I, but I did use that as a base.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
No. Yeah, I drew that picture by hand a while back, and then I just basically ported it over to the PC and then made a quick thing of it because I don't have a full-on thing. So, but yeah, she's got like 36. So yeah, she's able to kind of, as you pull up, she kind of lets go and then more or less kind of gets her going around to put one arm behind where her back is, and then another arm right underneath her, where her neck and chin is, to kind of pop her back.
I am not used to the GM telling us his roles.
It won't happen all the time, but yes, there are times I will feel the need to, and this was one of those times. So yeah,
It was that big of a flex, I guess.
yes and no.
I'm just gonna look over my shoulder. Why do you get her gun?
Those over there immediately.
And then Adamok said that he was also going to try and make a grab for the gun. So Zoe can make for one of the guns, and then Adamox can make for another. And then this will end up being a strength check. If you have brawling strength.
I do. I will spend a character point.
Okay.
That's a D6.
Go back out my calculator.
21, sir.
Okay. And after Adamox gets his all calculated up with the calculator.
20 with
20.
1 6 on the wild die.
Yeah, the Wookiee and Whisper, Crom and Whisper have got her pinned down, and she's still kind of trying to get out. You guys are trying to go for the guns and things. That she's got a death grip on these things. As you guys are basically trying to do anything you can, she's just not having it. At that point, Nina will actually walk up, pull something from behind her back that looks familiar to every one of the crew here, and starts making her way to the front. Well, I say the behind where Whisper is, to kind of get access to her head, neck area, and she'll say, let me have her neck. And then I just start screaming, "You traitors! You don't know what that is," and blah blah. And she just goes on with this massive tirade.
Great.
And then
She's one of them.
she turns around and Nina pops her in the neck And then she just kind of, and she is going to try to willpower out of this. Now, whether or not she can do it, she's not that best at willpower. That's a damn good roll, though. A darn good roll.
So can I go and put my hand on the kid's shoulder and just say, "Hey, thanks for keeping your composure"?
Yeah, you do that, and the kid just like nods his head, like, "Well, there wasn't anything I could do." He says, "I wasn't going to do anything." He's like, "I could have made the situation worse if I would have."
Appreciate it. I like your thinking.
He nods his head. He goes, "Yeah, a lot of people just want to jump right into the fight." He goes, "But I was kind of looking for an opportune moment." He says, "And I guess this is it." He just kind of chuckles. Once the shot kind of goes in, you can definitely tell that Aya is still fighting it and things of that. But there must be something, not a terrible reaction with the alcohol, but because she's already drunk, but she's trying to push past, you kind of hear her going around saying stuff like, how, and like tears start forming up, and she starts crying. She says, how could you do this? You know how dangerous they are. You're supposed to be. And she just kind of falls limp. Weapons fall. As like everybody just kind of standing there, like, okay, like that just happened. After a while,
slowly back away.
yeah. After a while, Whisper's gonna kind of motion her head to the Wookiee, like put her down.
He just gently puts her down, takes a step back.
That's the funny part. Crom just kind of goes like this, and then like once her feet hits the thing, Whisper gets to a certain point and then just drops her. Boom! And then Nina goes, "Whisper!" She says, "Bitch had it coming." And then Nina just shakes her head. I swear.
Hey, I could have done worse. I could have just flung her into the wall. Or out an airlock.
Yeah, Whisper points and says, "See?"
I was being gentle.
Zoe's gonna go for the guns and disassemble them, like the slide
Don't
thing,
do
whatever.
that.
I'm going to look at Zoe and say, "Stop. That's their property."
Fair enough. I was just making it so accidents couldn't happen. Just taking the battery.
I'm
And
going to
handing
look at
We're considered
them
to
and
be
go, "She's
toddlers, not
unconscious.
thieves.
Yeah,
Stop."
but
do knock out.
that can be faked. It can be fought.
Nina,
Doesn't
not
look
Nina.
like she's absolutely
Yeah,
out.
Whisper just kind of goes, "I don't know. I think that drop would have woke her." And then she just gives her a hard kick. Wham! And her body just kind of shuffles, and she goes, "Yep, she's out." Nina just
Okay,
stop.
never mind then. Here's your property.
Whisper will take them, and then she'll put the batteries back in, and then kind of put them up and
Batteries.
everything else. So
And this is all done. I'm gonna kind of just wander over here and it's like, doing okay?
So I've got a question. Since you lot helped us,
pause
do you
right
have any
there.
idea?
Pause right there,
Yes,
because
sir.
Crom said he wanted to walk over. So
Sorry.
Crom,
Sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. Crom walks over to the dude, and he's like, "Everything okay?" And he just kind of stands there, looks at you, nods his head, and says, "Yeah, I wasn't expecting this much excitement, but yeah, I'm okay."
It's just a normal day for us.
He nods his head. He goes, "I have family like this, so I understand." Thanks
got
for
family.
helping, by the way. He says, "Sorry if I got a little testy." He goes,
Hey.
"Back there."
And just slaps him on the shoulder. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
You don't cause us trouble, we'll get you home.
That would be appreciated, he says. And
Or as nearest home is he gestures over to Richard. As nearest home is Richard will let you go.
he just shrugs his shoulders and says, "Wherever you can drop me off," he says, "I can make my way." Give me a perception search or spot if you want to kind of look at this guy up and down, kind of see what he's got going on.
I can give you I'll give you a search because I have a higher chance with that.
Fair. And then I need to double check because I know what species he is, but I cannot recall the name. Nope.
14.
14. Okay, so this dude's pretty much wearing basic clothes. He doesn't have a lot of flashy things. You can see where there are empty holsters and things that he'd found possibly on the planet, or they let him keep them. He doesn't appear right away to have any weapons on him. He does have this kind of like eye covering that kind of goes right across his eyes. It's like cloth and it kind of wraps around the head. Um, and it actually kind of looks like it's opaque, so he can actually see through this.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. No, I'm just gonna look at the. I'm assuming it's a visor, correct?
No, it looks like it's like just a very thick, thin cloth.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, he like he's got his eyes covered.
Just gonna look at him. It's like, what's with the covering?
He'll kind of snicker and he'll say, my species does this to keep others from being unsettled. He says, we are what many refer to as near human. And he says, we actually do not have any eyes. He says, we do have the sockets. He says, and this can be very unsettling to people. So for their comfort, he says, many of us will adorn head dressings to cover that up.
Ah, fascinating. And I'm just gonna have a conversation with him. I don't want to keep everyone.
No, I got you. Totally fine. Totally fine. All right. So now we'll jump to Zoe.
So, were either of you present when we were quote unquote acquired?
Nina will look at you funny and say, uh, when Vanguard tied you up, or
Yes.
if you recall, she says, and I know it's been a while. We landed with a bounty for the guy. You guys were just right there. She says,
All right. There's a reason why I asked the obvious question. Did
sh-
anyone see my face?
um, Nina will say, I don't know, honestly.
Well, really, I don't care if it was a female, but if it was a male, I've got some issues with that.
Nina will once again kind of nod her head and she say, I wish I could help you with that. Once I knocked you out, that was pretty much it. I took your armaments and so on and so forth.
Fair enough. Well, someone covered me. I guess I owe them.
She just kind of nods her head and she says, well, sometimes people can be nice. Just pass it along, she says.
I will return the cosmic favor through the Force.
Don't get crazy, she says. All right, so
But
Zoe's
I'm
been
a
covered.
Mandalorian. We're all crazy.
Yeah. All right, so who would like to have a turn in talking and carrying on? Adamox, let's go with you because it looked like Richard was eating at the moment.
Alright. So, now that everything seems to have settled down, I'm gonna kind of look over at the Nina, I wasn't say.
Mm.
So, pointing at the now unconscious
Aya,
whose name I've forgotten.
Aya,
Aya.
you're fine.
So pointing at Aya, I'm gonna go. She do that often?
Nina will do a heavy sigh and she'll say,
No
more
offense
often than
intended.
not. Yeah, no, she says no, no offense taken. She's but more often than not. You have to forgive my
Gotcha.
sister. She's still dealing with a lot of stuff, she says.
Fair enough. I know that it can be difficult to not let that boil over, let's call it, when things happen.
She'll say, yeah.
I'm trying to be as kind for this as possible, I
No,
swear.
no, I understand. She will kind of let you have a little bit of a insight towards it, and she will say that we lost our parents when we were younger, and she says I watched after both my siblings, and she still to this day blames the Jedi for our parents' death. When she was 18, she joined the Empire and was a trooper. It took everything to get her to come back home away from the Empire, and I finally convinced her, but she's still brainwashed,
Has
she'll
that
say.
animosity.
Yeah, she's like, so there's still lots of issues she's got to work through. But I just have to. I have to thank you guys for not just trying to kill her. She says.
To be fair, we probably couldn't if we tried.
Yeah, she just chuckles. She says, "Yeah, I's a tough one. An actual marksman. She could actually hit people in that helmet." She says.
Now that's the impressive bit.
Oh God.
All right, so Richard, we will jump to you.
So I'm going to look at Nina and go, do you want to take her to a room on your ship?
She kind of looks at Aya and then looks at Whisper, and then she's like, she should be out for 12 hours. She goes, but I don't want to risk that. Yeah, she goes, we'll probably end up taking her, put her in the brig for a while till she cools down. She goes, unfortunately, it's not the first time we've had to do that. And then Whisper kind of makes a comment underneath her breath as she kind of like starts to pick and scoop her up. And she's like, if we ended up getting the cooling unit like I want, and she goes, no. She's like, I'm not putting her in a block. I'm just saying it's an option. We could just put her there, leave her there. She could be furniture, whatever. She goes, shut up.
How old is this?
I'm not sure.
I'll just giggle at that.
I think it's fine.
So
I don't see
unless
mold.
anybody's going to say anything to Whisper, Whisper is going to just start dragging the body
Well,
away.
I don't see mold.
So
And
I'm
she-
gonna
Want
look.
any
She's
help
not
with
being
that?
she's not being the
We
world's
can still
like
eat it.
gentlest either. She's kind of like up you go and everything else, and like Nina's just shaking her head like, oh my god, I'm going. Like,
I just
seriously.
imagine she just, as she's picking her up, she actually lets her head drop. Boom, 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 boom.
Like go failed attempt. Whoopsie daisy. Boom. Sorry about that. Pick her up and start going.
Pick her up by the
Can I
legs
make a
instead.
guess at how bad her head's gonna hurt when she gets out of this?
Oh, you can guess it's gonna hurt pretty bad. She's probably gonna wake up with the hangover and then plus whatever
Trauma.
Whisper's been doing, dropping her head and things like that,
Fair
kicking
enough.
her, all that stuff. So she's
Wookie
probably gonna be pretty
smash.
sore. Yeah.
Zoe will look at the kid and be like, I assume you actually maintain composure, considering her hands are still attached.
The kid looks at you and says, "Yeah, why is everybody so surprised about that? What do these Jedis do?" He says.
Well, they're not as bad as that one would make you think.
I don't know.
We
You
should've
kind of made
recorded
it
this
sound that
interaction
way. He
beforehand.
says.
So I'm just gonna,
Me or us?
You
I'm
specifically.
just
was
gonna
like,
yell. I'm just gonna stay
her
over my
hands
shoulder.
are together. What was Crom yelling?
Crom's just gonna yell over shout. Zoe exaggerates everything.
Ah.
Anywho,
Well,
as I was trying to get in,
Yep.
I'm
sorry.
gonna look at both Nina and Whisper and go, thank you, even if it was a job, for getting us out of there.
Whisper is just like kind of going, dragging the body back at this point. So she's like halfway in the airlock, and she goes, "Anytime."
Zoe salutes.
Nina's going to kind of sigh and say, so now that's all taken care of. What are we doing? Let me rephrase that. She says, what are you doing about the kid?
He has something to deliver. He did help us get out of there.
We're honor bound to help him deliver. By the sound.
I'm gonna look at Zoe and go, honor bound is nothing. This is a debt.
Yeah, kid looks at Zoe.
Debt and honor are hand in hand.
Looks at Zoe, looks at Richard as they're kind of talking back and forth. He goes, honor bound or debt bound. He says, you don't have to help me.
We also can't just leave a kid all to figure out this galaxy on his own, especially when he's gonna get mistaken for a Jedi.
I'm gonna
What he
look at
said.
Adamox and go, he has proven he is more than capable.
Yeah, he can
Fair,
hold his
I don't
own,
like
but
abandoning children, okay?
let's assume that he's not necessarily your average child, Adamox. This man is a warrior.
So I'm gonna look at.
I'm not gonna call you kid. I'm not gonna call you boy.
I'm gonna look
Nick?
at him and go, so at the very least, I would like to give you the knowledge to prepare you for what you will encounter down there.
Okay.
It only seems fair.
Yeah, he looks at you and says, Absolutely. What knowledge do I need?"
Well, that, and I'm gonna point towards the airlock. It
Yeah.
happened quite often. I'm pretty sure there's bounties on Jedi. So if they see
Yep.
the lightsaber, they are going to assume you are and try and abduct you and turn you in.
Nina will nod her head and she'll say, "Yep." She says, "I'm a bounty hunter." She says, "But I'm not that stupid." She says, and kind of chuckles.
Uh,
I can attest to that. Now, what's up? Real
Scotty,
quick.
what do I know? What do I know specifically about General Force shit stuff?
They pull some kind of energy from the mystic force and they utilize it to their advantage, and many of them wield lightsabers. That's
Okay,
pretty general
so
knowledge.
your abilities, use those sparingly. If you can, hide your face. Definitely, like Richard was saying, hide. She will point at the lightsaber, not touching it, but it's like that. I'm sorry. I know. I know. Well, that's probably something. It's like, is it near and dear to you? I'm not gonna call you. I'm not assuming you're a Jedi, but it is your weapon.
Yeah, he says it's what I was given to defend myself with.
Good. Do you know how to use a blaster?
Yeah, he says I've had to use them from a young age.
Okay, well, I suppose we could, worst case scenario, hand you one of those. That
So
that blade, please try not to get caught wielding that.
Okay, he looks at Richard. You were saying something?
I'm gonna look at Zoe and go, Zoe, he's from outside the galaxy. I doubt there's any wanted posters. Hiding his face isn't gonna do much, but bring
True.
attention to him.
True.
But if they don't know my face to begin with, it's harder to get on the wanted poster, the kid says.
People do wear cloaks all the time, so long as he's not being too conspicuous about it. Who knows? Maybe he's hideously scarred.
He kind of looks offended at that, going, I, I'm not hideously scarred.
But they won't have any way of knowing that if they can't see your face.
Richard, did you actually make that laugh?
Yes,
He's like,
I'm just gonna laugh.
come on, boss, really?
I'm just shaking his head, listening to this in the background.
Ow, that hurt, boss.
Aw, you
But-
heard her one singular Mandalorian feeling.
I'm just going to look at you and go, why is that always your first go-to?
You know full damn well why.
So
Not
Nina,
everybody.
Nina will kind
Just-
of once again interject, say, I'm sorry, but kid, may I give you some parting wisdom? Kid just kind of nods his head. She says, he's like, yeah, sure. He goes, okay. And she kind of leans down just a little bit, puts a hand on the shoulder and says, you know, this may be the last time I ever meet you, but it's still kind of rude to keep calling you kid. What's your name? The kid kind of sits there for a second and says, you may call me Zagar. Fair enough, she says. Zagar.
Was that loud enough for everybody to hear?
Yeah. They're just
I
talking.
will put that in my notes.
There you go. She'll say Zagar.
Later I'm gonna
You
need an
need
actual note
to
page.
be very smart about what you need to do, she says, and hiding yourself and keeping yourself out of the Empire's eyes and many other factions. She says, but by no means does that mean do it to a point that it will get you killed. She kind of points at his chest. She says, you are important, especially now in these dark days. Stay alive. Trust your instincts. They should serve you well. Kid will kind of nod his head and she'll say, that's what Master told me. She just nods her head and says, he's a smart man. She actually, excuse me, smart woman. At that, Nina will kind of start walking to the airlock and go, "Oh yeah," and she'll reach into one of her hip pouches and she tosses a little satchel at Richard. You'll kind of catch it, fumble a little bit, and things that, and she'll say, "We're able to cash in on the stuff that the rebels had." Pivot sends his regards. I collected the money, she says, but you did some of the work. I figured you need to be paid a little bit for it, she says.
Appreciate it.
She nods her head and she says, no, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, she says, with a it's kind of like devious smile.
Once again, Zoe salutes.
Yep.
I'm just gonna pause, be in thought for a moment, and go 20 grand.
She says, given the black sun, I didn't want to take any chances. Thankfully,
I
it
do
wasn't.
not blame you.
Yeah, she was thankfully it
Again,
wasn't as hard
right
as I
call.
thought.
Still, 20 grand.
She nods her head and she says, "You better get to work then, I guess."
Is okay. So, Jim, was that the first time Zoe heard the actual price?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Wow. Okay. I definitely appreciate you now, but wow, we're gonna have to get some working in.
Yes, you will. Nina says.
Look
She says,
at. I'm gonna. Sorry.
"You're fine. Go ahead, Adamox."
I'm gonna look at Richard, look back at Nina, look back at Richard again, and go. Do you think we can knock off some of our debt if we donated a portion of that? So, quote unquote, donated.
It's probably
Going
not
outside.
her we owe.
Oh
Knowing
Oh
no.
no.
No. She says it's the bill will be paid for. She says, I went ahead and took the liberty of speaking with your employer, Bipto, and he's putting it on Richard's account. She says.
Okay, that's when Zoe's gonna go. Well, son of
She'll just kind of shrug her shoulders. She says, "Hey," she says, "I did it for you at a discount." And she'll start heading to the airlock. She'll say,
Yeah, I'm gonna look
Discount we
at.
appreciate.
I'm gonna look at them and go. 3 ships, a bounty hunter crew. That is a really big discount.
as she's like going
Yeah,
through on the other
yeah,
side of the
yeah.
airlock before she ends up doing the manual shut for it and things. And she goes, "Yeah," she goes, "I really like Jada." She goes, "So I made sure to give a pretty good discount. If you need
Appreciate
anything,
it.
please don't hesitate. Give me a holler," she says. And then
Will
Hey.
do.
she will pull the lever and it shuts off.
Jim, can you spell Zagar for me?
Way I'm spelling it is literally Zagar.
Okay, I got that
So
right.
Zagar,
Okay, thank you.
but I'm pronouncing it Zagar, longer A.
Still
Okay.
works.
Yep.
So I'll add another A just in case, so I
Hey,
don't
whatever you want to do.
if it comes to it.
Yep.
But
whatever
don't
you wanna
mess
do.
that up.
Yep.
So, with that closed,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come over to this guy.
Mm-hmm. Which, as you're kind of walking, since we spent a little bit of time, Crom, was there anything you wanted to talk about with the guy, or anything you wanted to do, or extra?
I was just gonna ask him before he got caught by the Black Suns, what did he do for a living?
He literally was just a runner. He says, I just took things here and there. Nothing nefarious. He goes, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He says, and got hit by a bunch of pirates. I think the dude said his name was Don Bonyage. Bon Voyage. That was his name. He says, he's a Bith, I think. He ended up raiding the ship, knocked a bunch of us out. Some of us, I think, didn't make it because I didn't see him. He says, but next thing you know, he says, I was sold into slavery. And then from there, he says, I was on the planet.
So this man was a galactic version of a driver for Uber Eats.
Pretty much.
Bon
Pretty much.
voyage.
Bon voyage.
Bomb like explosive or just the French word?
Bon,
Bon
as in the
voyage.
French. Bon, literally. Bon voyage.
BONVOYAGE.
I wanted to make sure. I thought I'm like,
Can
are
I-
we just ripping off the Incredibles villain now?
Can I roll on something to see if that name sounds familiar at all?
Yeah, that would be a streetwise knowledge.
I'd like to do the
Sweet.
same as well.
You would like to do that as well, you said, Adamox?
Correct.
So while you guys are rolling, wait for your rolls and numbers and things. Let's still go with Crom.
Alright.
So Crom tells you that, or Crom, this dude tells you that. What does Crom want to do now?
Mm.
Any more questions or?
I don't have any questions off the top of my head.
Oh, you're fine.
He's been particularly friendly, so I'm not. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not being hostile to him.
Absolutely. So at that time, that's when Richard's going to walk up. The guy will kind of look at you as he motions his head in your direction, and he says, "Thank you so much for allowing me on, if I've gathered this correctly, your ship."
Yes.
Uh,
This is my
nods.
ship.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Did I overhear what he did?
Yeah, you did overhear this.
Be like, okay. So I'm assuming there's not any outstanding bounties on you.
He says, as far as I know, no.
I'm just gonna shake my head and go, I'm not even gonna double check.
Okay.
Gonna
So
look at
be like, where do you need to go?
He says, I'm actually not too awful picky. He says, wherever you're going, he says, I'm sure I can find transport. If I can't find transport right away, so I can find some odd jobs and build up the credits to go do something. He says, I'm not too worried
Don't
about
recommend my employer.
He laughs. He goes, who's your employer?
Bipto.
An absolute jerk.
Yeah, Bipto. He says, the name doesn't ring any bells.
He's a penny pincher.
There are a lot of those in the galaxy, the dude says. So what were you saying, Richard?
I'm gonna go, so you know how some people have their fleet of ships and people are employed to fly them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to buy those from him.
He looks at you kind of with this like slack jaw, like, wait, what? Huh? What do you mean?
Don't
Yeah.
recommend being employed by him.
That makes
Believe
no
me,
sense.
was not my first choice.
Oh shit! All right,
So, where is
Chad.
Jada in all this?
Jada's back in the engine room like she usually is. That's
'Cause
the
I was
only.
going to the engine room.
Yeah, so that's the only place you can think of because she didn't show up. Nothing happened. So that's the first
Roll
place you'd
whenever
think
you're
of.
ready.
Well, I'm removing myself from the scene and going to the engine room.
You're fine.
I have a Jada to thank.
Yep. All right. So we've covered Kron. We've covered Richard. Adamox, what would you like to do?
That roll I still need to address.
Ah, yes,
The
as
one
well
for-
as Zoe. Zoe, what was your number for that?
5.
And then what was
I don't know
yours,
shit.
Adamox?
I know
Including
Jack.
the 1 pip, 15 with a 1 on the wild die, though.
Fantastic. The name does sound familiar. You do feel like you've heard a pirate by this name, but you
How do I?
are having a hard time connecting the dots as to where you're almost positive it's something new. It's not like an established like Black Sun. Like everybody around that's been around for the past like 40, 50 years knows who the Black Sun is.
So, like the pirate group we were talking about in the
Shadow.
first few sessions with the Vanguard raids, let's call it.
Right. So, yep.
Gotcha.
There is that.
So I've heard the name around, but I can't quite place where. All I know is that they're a more recent group.
Correct. So, what would you
Gotcha.
like to do now that you have this little bit of nugget?
Right. I think I'm probably just gonna go back to my quarters. After all this
Sure.
mess, I need a nap.
All right.
I'm not sure which end that would be on. I'll just assume it was
Quarters
over
are
in
here
this
for
area.
you guys.
Oh, okay.
Captain's
Let's assume
quarters
it
are
was
right
there.
here.
Yeah, and then I
And
assume
then this
is
is the guest quarters.
or what?
I
Oh,
almost
okay.
thought that was Crom's. I almost thought this was that this was Crom's bed. Just 'cause he's so
He
big.
needs a bigger one.
No, yeah, he probably does, but
That's clearly the
yeah,
captain's quarters right
so
there.
that's captain's quarters. He gets all the luxurious stuff. I'll learn to talk here. As where poor Crom's got, it's one of those units that's got the bed and the wall, so he's like crumped up a little bit.
So it's not even like mattresses.
All
where
I
you
need is a unit
No,
for some
it's
rack time.
the way they
together.
work is like they're kind of into the wall, and they're usually pretty big enough that a Wookiee can't actually lay down in them. But like, it's not like, it's basically just kind of like some pads and things that they're kind of laid down, spared out, and on like a hard surface. These are really basic stuff. Now, Richard, he's never let anybody into his room, so you don't know if he's got that, if he's got an actual bed, if he's got like some kind of like cool fancy, uh, um. I don't even know how to describe it. Like a device that lets him float while he sleeps. You know, like
So
you
just
you have
the
no idea what
Napoleon
he has.
Dynamite plane bedrooms.
Yeah, you guys are just plain.
Hey, at least I got the nice padding. I could have cheaped out on stuff.
That's right.
The
His
weight
his
of the
comes
hammock,
with
boss.
his
Knowing
comes with
Richard, he's
lumbar
very well made
support.
out.
I give you a pillow.
That's right. You got a pillow and lumbar support. Not every captain would do that. You should be thanking him.
Why I wake up grumpy every morning.
That's just
Yeah,
the old age,
yeah.
man.
The Scotty, not Scotty, sorry. Richard's lucky. He gets a blanket.
That's right.
I am a blanket.
Do you
much.
realize how much those cost?
The kid's just like, I thought you said the Bipto was a penny pitcher. As he's kind of like looks towards Richard.
Do you know how much in debt I am?
No.
Yeah, we're just really broke.
Oh. I'm sorry. He says, like, unsure what to say.
It's just the justification.
Oh, shoot. Alrighty, so then we'll jump back to Zoe for just a smidge. You said
Fair
you
enough.
wanted to thank Jada.
Yeah. So, Scotty and Chrono,
Mhm.
before I can go any further with the scene, it's like basically from what I've heard you describe of Jada, it's sounding like she's organic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to assume Jada's gender, but it sounds female. Am I correct?
Yes, Jada is female. She is,
Okay.
in fact, human. She does have what we always refer to as droid brains. I can't remember the what if they're still called that, but basically the thing like the dude from Cloud City and Empire Strikes Back, the thing that's
Yeah.
on his head, it's what she has. It's
Oh,
pretty common
hi,
knowledge
boy.
amongst the crew that essentially she's always been a good mechanic and she's been pretty smart, but she essentially went into depth with Bipto to have that put in so she could be an even better mechanic and things of that. And she's basically she works with Richard most of the time to help pay out the debt, but there are times when Bipto needs ships repaired or something done that she will go work for him for a little bit. And there have been times you guys have been Jadaless. So she kind of does what she needs to.
Appreciate that. So, after confirming that they are alone minus a specific kit,
Yep. Kit.
Zoe's taking off the helmet. She's seen her. Jada's gonna notice slight tears as Zoe goes to Jada, hugs her, and says, "Thank you."
Jada kind of
First thing.
puts her arms out a little uncomfortably and kind of does one of these numbers. Zoe is welcome.
Sorry, it's just I appreciate everything. Debt understandable, but you saved us essentially. That was you. And I appreciate that.
This one just tried, she says.
Hey, we're a unit. It's what we do. Zoe puts her helmet back on.
Okay. At that point, you'll kind of notice, so I can explain to people, Kit, the little droid. So I always kind of, and I'm working on pictures for these two. But Kit basically kind of, if you can think of like a sphere, but the bottom part of the sphere will actually kind of hinge down to allow for legs to pop out. And it is not nearly as outfitted like an astromech would be because its size is about maybe the size of a basketball, a little bit smaller. But
So
it does
a sphere
have,
with legs.
it does
Cool.
have other components and things that Kit actually works with Jada. It's kind of like her own personal droid to kind of, fetch this part, do this. I need you to solder that and everything else.
Like if BB-8 had tiny arms and legs.
Pretty much.
Yep. So, also, Kit, good work. You're right on that one. All right, Jada, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I just wanted to show that I appreciate your actions.
She nods. She says, "This one understands. Jada is void of much emotion. However, with my organic component still well in place, this one still feels certain things. Fear is one thing that I still feel. Can't talk.
If you could get rid of it, don't. Fear is a necessary response for living.
Jada will kind of nod her head. So says Zoe. She says that's all she says.
One with no fear is one that's gonna die eventually. That and pain every now and again. Pain is the immediate response from the brain to the body. Yada yada.
Yeah. This talk about pain and like death and everything else, you kind of see her like cringing down and getting like this uncomfortable look on her face. Like she is not at all comfortable about talking about this stuff.
I'm sorry. I'm going to turn the Mandalorian off. So, is our ship in any poor state, or is it fine?
Jada says, this one has been running diagnostics, making visual checkovers. Jada hasn't spotted anything yet. However,
Understood.
it appears like the ship is ship shape, as she says.
So I was actually going to laugh at that. It's like, I apologize that our excursion failed. I was going to try to, let's say, acquire some parts, but that didn't work.
Jada understands, Jada says, as she kind of starts like getting ready to walk away, but then like stops, like, oh, I'm not sure if this conversation's over, and then like kind of looks at you like, anything else?
It's fine. The conversation is over, Jada, as
She-
you were.
Yeah, she nods her head and goes back to actually this section over here. And that's kind of like her personal quarters. Now, it's way bigger, but at the same time, to be fair, she's got all kinds of different various parts for weapons, ship parts, everything else like that. She actually has a chair, which people have seen that she kind of more or less sits in, and that's what she sleeps in. Kit kind of has like a little charging area, but most of her stuff isn't a traditional room. She just literally implants herself into the engine room and just stays there most of the time.
So
it'd be like
basically,
someone
she's
working
got a
from home
dock.
falling
So
asleep in
basically,
their
she
bed.
has almost like she has a chamber all her own.
Pretty
basically.
much, yeah. She pretty much
Docking
stays
chamber.
she pretty much stays with all the mechanics of the ship and things and that's where she is. And then Animox was trying to say something. What were you saying, man?
Yeah, sorry.
You're fine,
I
you're
was
fine.
saying that. So basically, it's like if someone worked from home and just fell asleep in their desk chair instead of their bed. She basically does that 24/7.
Yep, that's pretty much all she does.
Gotcha.
She has been known to kind of like, she actually has like her own little sonic refresher in the back, which is similar to what you guys ran into in the cells. So she can literally just kind of go in there. It cleans all of her clothes and her purse and things so she does not have to do anything, and she like it's really quick and efficient, and she can get right back to work. I mean, she is business. So very rarely does she do anything for air quotes pleasure.
Seems legit.
Yeah. So, alrighty then. So I think this would be a good time for a really quick break. And then we will come back. So about a 10-15, kind of let everybody refresh,
Okay, I gotta go.
body, eat, do whatever they need to. So, yep, we will be back. I said in about 10 or 15. Give or
All right.
bye, y'all. We be back in a bit. Welcome back, viewers, to Dice Dorks in Danger, where this time there hasn't really been too much danger. The danger was taken care of, and it's been a lot of talking, which is nice. It's nice change of pace, if you ask me. All right.
We like not getting shot.
Unless you count getting dropped.
Right?
Oh, crap.
All right. So, back to it then. What does everybody want to do? Richard, I know you said you're wanting to basically chart astrogation, kind of getting your way from point A to point B.
Yes.
All right, so you may head to the cockpit and start pointing out the astrogation. Let's go with Crom. What does Crom want to do? You still want to talk to the, we're going to call him Jose.
No, unless he has something he needs to ask. I've gotten all the information out of him.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
what's up.
All right, so Jose is going to basically just kind of go around in here and fiddle around, just kind of air quotes, look around. Kid's kind of doing the same thing. He's walking around. He, unlike the other dude, which despite having no eyes, can actually see. The kid is actually kind of walking around looking like every nut and bolt and just kind of like rubbing his hand on the pad like he is almost astonished at this ship. Like there's just something about it that's just kind of like he's impressed with or he's just flabbergasted. You're not 100% sure, but he's kind of really taking his time looking around the ship, looking at the lights and everything else.
I'm just gonna look up at the kids and it's like, if you got any questions, well, the answer. I'm just
Um,
kind of sitting in the corner, just going over my armor, just seeing what I'm going to need in terms of parts.
mm-hmm. So
Why did Richard write 17?
If you want, Crom, you can go ahead and give
Don't worry
me
about
Okay.
armor repair technical,
All right.
and then see if you can kind of suss out what it is that you may or may not need.
Okay. I do not have armor repair, sadly.
Okay, so that is going to be technical.
Yep. If I can get my lovely dice out of the bin, it doesn't want to cooperate right now.
Those that are basically doing the exact same things.
You love it. That's how that works. So once you give him that check, we can go ahead and do
Well, I got a 10.
10. It's pretty
Oh wait,
bad.
no, 11. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine. It's pretty beat up. You're kind of thinking it's going to cost you a few grand to get this fixed part wise. You are kind of mentally, thinking of different parts and stuff like that, different types of wiring and everything else that, you're going to need, obviously plating and all that kind of fun stuff. But you are thinking it's going to run you a few grand to actually fix this. Until then, you don't think it's going to offer you much protection. Thankfully, I cannot recall exactly what they're referred to. The power mechanism, we'll call it, that allows you to, that allows a parasuit to be a parasuit is still functioning. So while wearing the armor, you're not going to be suffering any negative to your dice for trying to move, and you still have the ability to lift things with strength and everything else. The additional, I think it's like D6 or something like that you had. So that part's still functioning.
Lovely.
Yep. All right.
And
go ahead.
you did hear me say what I did say to the kid, correct? I didn't.
Yes.
Okay. And while this is all going on, I'm just gonna pull out something from my pocket, what my equivalent of a pocket, and just look at it for a while.
The kid is going to, as soon as you pull the object out of your pocket, the kid's going to kind of, his head's going to kind of motion around, look around, and then he starts looking over at you and he says, "What do you have?"
I just kind of lift it up, and it's just a droid's eye.
He walks over to it and says, "May I?"
And I hold it out to him.
He kind of takes it, looks at it, and kind of does an examination on it. And he has dice for stuff like this.
Inquisitive.
That should be good enough. The kid does, in fact, agree. He says, "Yes, this is an optical device for a droid." He goes, "It's familiar." He says, it's weird." He goes, "Even though it's definitely a droid eye," he goes, "There's something different about it. I can't put my finger on it though." And he's like kind of looking around, running a finger over different components and things of that. And then at some point he will give up and he'll just go, "Huh, that's interesting. It almost kind of seems to sing," he says.
Hear it too.
Yes. He says, I didn't hear it. He says, until you pulled it out. He's like, up until then, he says, I just kind of thought it was the excitement of being on this unique ship and everything I've gone through. He says, but it became more prevalent. He says, once you held that object in your hand, the droid eye. That's interesting.
You're the first one besides me to hear it.
Huh. I wonder if it has some kind of connection with the Force, he says, kind of trailing off.
I'm just gonna watch him. Did he give me back the eye or no?
Yeah, he gave you back the eye. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not
Fine,
holding
fine.
on to it anymore. He hands it back to you because he's done all of his examinations.
It's my good luck charm, and it's hasn't let me down yet.
He kind of looks at you with this weary look, and he says, "As dangerous as it is for me to be carrying this, as you call it, a lightsaber, and having the powers that I do," he just kind of wags his finger gently. He says, "There are things," he says, "that I've heard stories about." He says, "of items being imbued with force." He says, "That can be more dangerous," he says, "if the legends are true, that is."
Well, considering where I pulled this from, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, where was that?
He's gonna kind of gesture to his neck, and just faintly through the patches, you can see the kid can see scarring, like shock scarring from repeatedly use.
Right. Um,
I
yeah. Good.
I pulled it from a Sith droid. They call themselves Sith, but they were more of a cult.
So these Sith are like Jedi?
They, in a sense,
Hmm.
yes, they're like you, but they let wild. They don't care who gets hurt, where they are, as long as they get what they want.
Hmm. I know people like that. And he kind of gets like this weird 1,000-yard stare, and he just kind of shudders, and like there's this kind of his face morphs into like this displeased look, and he just shakes it off, and he's like, "Well, if I may imbue some advice," he says, "since you guys have been very helpful to me," he says, I would still be careful with that. Very
Uh,
careful.
I've been be careful in the last 100 years of my life. There's not much more that can scare me.
All right. So that was Crom. Let's jump to Adamox real quick. Adamox, did you have anything you wanted to do?
Yeah, so is this just like over the course of the week long whatever?
This is basically just kind of until Richard can get navigation going, because I will
Okay,
essentially make a jump cut for time's sake.
gotcha. Then yeah, once I've woken up from the nap I was taking, I'm probably gonna go attempt to try and learn some computer and basic overall technical stuff from Jada. See if I can get her to teach me some
Okay.
of that because
Okay.
like it might be helpful to have someone that can run diagnostics if she's not around.
Absolutely. So you're wanting to work on a specific skill, or you want to try to work on technical in total?
Technical overall.
Okay. So let me make a note of that.
And I know that
Onyx,
takes time, so I figured I might as
yep,
well take
absolutely.
time to train.
Tech Jada. Okay. All right. So there's that. Zoe, let's go to you.
All right. Well, Zoe would like to assess her gear, the damaged gun, her armor, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
See what's up. So would that
Yep.
be both weapon and armor repair?
If you're looking at the armor, it would be armor repair. If you're looking at the weapons, it would be the weapons repair.
Uh, okay. Can I look at both, or do I have to pick one?
You need a check for both. So if you're looking at armor, you need a check for the armor. If you're also looking at weapons, you also need a check for the weapons.
Okay, let's try the armor first. Let's see, armor repair. That's 3. Wild die here. That's garbage. Spending a wild die. I mean, spending a character point.
Okay. So Richard, have you already made your roll for astrogation, by the way?
Yes, I put it in chat.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 12. 15.
15. Okay, so you are thinking that it is going to be um probably about with the armor that you were wearing plus the helmet, it's probably going to be running you about 230 credits to actually get that repaired. 230 credits worth of material. It shouldn't be too difficult to repair it. A moderate difficult check possibly. And then go ahead and give me the check on the weapons.
Moment. Actually, roll that one in the sheets. Blaster
So-
repair.
If I may ask,
Yes.
Yes.
is he also looking at the rifle from the planet?
Yep.
I'm assuming when he said weapons that he's looking over the weapons.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm lumping everything into a check.
11.
11.
Why is there a 0 in there?
Most of the weapons look like they're pretty good. There is a rifle that looks
Zeros
like
because they're not extra pips. They're not extra dice. Yada yada.
okay. The rifle that you picked up probably could use some TLC. The other ones look like they're in relatively decent shape. You're guesstimating that the rifle is probably going to run you about 150 credits to repair.
Well, I already have a blaster rifle, but I'll take a look at that though.
Yep. And then you said you put the number in chat. Up there it is. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Richard, you're going to be kind of taking the time, going through the nav charts, sending signal onto the buoy, doing what you need to do. There are planets between here and Corbin Deltas. Problem is that you guys are off on a beaten path, and none of the planets are common settled planets. These other planets that you are coming across, you don't even know if you've heard the names of them before. So it
I
is
will ignore
possible
them.
you can land on them, but you don't know what you're going to be landing into.
I will ignore them.
All right, so you're wanting to make a jump straight to Corbin Deltas then?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and give me a astrogation check to make the actual calculations.
So, second roll.
Yep, second.
12.
12. Okay. So you're going to be taking the time. It's everybody's going to be doing their things and all that stuff. It's probably going to take you about a good solid 3 hours to make the calculations because the area that you're at, the way the buoy is, it hasn't been fully updated probably in the past week, half of a week, something like that. So that you're working off old information. But you are able to what you believe to be a successful jump. Once you kind of get everything settled and you make the jump, poof, you're going to kind of be looking around, looking down, and realize that somewhere along the time when you first initially looked here, it looked like there was about a week and a half, give or take, distance. When you made all these calculations and then jumped, you basically you think you've tacked on time, so it's about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So it is going to take you longer to get there, but you are fairly confident it's going to get you there safely.
That's what matters.
That is what matters. Okay. So that's where we're going to kind of go with the passing of time. I will kind of do, I guess, a swipe, like a little swipe, and you're going to kind of see that a ship ends up coming out of hyperspace. It is, in fact, the Lucky Strike, which is a YT 2400. As a Mandalorian just kind of sitting in the cockpit, kind of flipping some switches and things, that starts looking through the nav charts and everything else. And even though he's got his helmet on, just from his posture and things of that, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a frustration as to where he was expecting something, possibly seeing the crew of the DP-28, but sadly, they're gone. So he just kind of, you audibly hear as he starts kind of working on navigations and things that a droid will actually kind of walk up to him and say, it'll be a protocol droid, and he'll walk up to him and say, Mr. Zyrtec, sir, it does appear that the ship that you were wanting is no longer here. As in the helmet, you can just kind of hear, yeah, I can see that. And the droid says, oh, I just wanted to make sure that you knew. What have I told you about interrupting me? To not do it. And then the head just kind of leans over and he says, so why are you interrupting me? The droid, oh, I'm sorry. And he kind of turns and starts to walk out of the cockpit. And he's, oh, yes, I do remember why I was interrupting you. He comes back in. Zyrtec just kind of goes, what? The crew was also kind of wanting to know that this arrangement that you made with the Black Sun, will it be permanent? Zyrtec just shrugs his shoulders and says, as long as they pay, I'll keep working. Would you like me to translate that? They were wanting to know as soon as possible? Zyrtec just kind of annoyingly slaps his hand on the console, looks at the droid and says, don't say a word. I'll handle them. Yes, sir. Sorry, once again. He turns around, door shuts as he kind of goes back to doing his calculations and things of that. He'll screen swipe again as the DP-28 comes out of hyperspace to kind of like, in my mind, I kind of see the camera focusing in on the ship coming out of hyperspace, and then it does like the camera jump to where you can kind of see the ship flying towards the planet. The planet is kind of Earth in looks. It's got quite a bit of water, not as much as Earth does, quite a bit of land. There's actually one noticeable spot that is like huge desert. Other areas and things that seem like it has some kind of a greenery, bluish kind of grass, like actually blue in color and things of that. And when you basically pop out of hyperspace on the comm lights basically going to start blipping on, letting you know, hey, somebody's trying to communicate with you.
I'm just gonna put my hand in my head and go, oh no, and answer it.
This one's not the oh no one yet. This one is essentially landing control. That is basically a small station that is kind of orbiting around the planet that has picked you up on their sensors. And they will basically say, incoming vessel, please identify yourself and send over your transponder codes. Please state your business and how long you plan on staying here with us on Corbin Deltas.
Do I recognize the voice?
No, it's not Bipto.
No. I'm not asking if it's Bipto. I'm assuming I've been in and out of this planet enough.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would've
yeah.
dealt with a lot of them.
We will consult Magic Coin. Magic Coin says, no, not this time. It's not your lucky day. So,
Okay.
yeah, this
Fair
one
question.
seems like it's someone new. And quick question, quick, yes.
Yeah. Was that just on the console for Richard, or was that like
Yeah, that's just on the
loudspeakers?
comm in the cockpit.
Okay.
Okay. Be like, DP-28, we are the YT-1210.
Mm-hmm.
We work for Homestar Logistics.
Okay.
And we are going to be here until we get our next job.
He says, okay. And transponder codes?
I'll transmit them over.
Okay. So you end up, flipping a few switches that essentially send over. No roll really required, and there'll be kind of a moment and everything else. And The guy says, "Yep, absolutely." He says everything checks out. He says Homestar Logistics. He says it is one of their ships, and he kind of snickers a little bit. He goes, "The dinner plate 28. You
Do we
are
have a problem?
no, not no." And you just hear this guy in the background going, "What moron named it that?" As the guy that's actually on the comms, like, yeah, you are go ahead, proceed to Homestar Logistics. I trust you have the coordinates. You have a good day, dinner plate 28. And the comm cut signal.
Yep.
All right. So
Glorious.
it shouldn't be terrible, but I would like for you to give me a space transport mechanical check to make sure that you can get there and not crash.
We both know how this went last time.
Wait, what?
I know why you're doing this.
It's so you can put character points into that skill. I'm thinking of you.
Richard, would you like some help with that?
19.
19? Yes, it is more than
I
enough.
mean,
Little
technically
choppy. It is a little choppy kind of going in, but nothing terrible. Must be some kind of a
Atmospheric
storm
re-entry
front
stuff.
coming on. What'd you say?
Atmospheric re-entry stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, you end up breaking through Atmo. You end up kind of going, getting where you need to, and everything else. Come up to Homestar Logistics. This one is extremely different. Like, they don't ping you in and out. You essentially have a pre-designated spot. There are actually 30 different ships that are around the same make and model, and your bay is always open for the DP-28. And you'll go ahead and kind of we'll count this all in, and you're able to kind of go land. Everybody can kind of feel the ship as it lands, and you can actually hear some of the air purifiers spitting out the bad carbon monoxide and things like that, and all that other kind of fun stuff on the outside of the ship.
All right. So I'm going to go over the comms, be like, all right, we landed. Let's check over the ship.
So what I'm hearing is there are 30 other dinner plates, and we just have to sit in our assigned seat.
Pretty much. All
This
right.
is our place setting.
That's right. There are many like
Our
it, but this
place
one
guy.
is ours. Okay. So yeah, the ship kind of, you get all, out and everything else. You want to check the ship. Jada, which I'd forgot to mention, had basically made mention that diagnostics before you made the jump. Diagnostics came back, everything's ship shape. Couple things probably need to be fixed on the hull. She says some lights, carbon scoring, possibly. She doesn't think that any of the plating's missing or anything like that. But that was beforehand, and you guys now have to, visually inspect.
Okay.
So, all right. That one would actually be, which you guys will have the proper tools to lifts and things that to kind of go and do what you need to. That one we're going to count as a space transport repair technical. And if anybody would like to do this, anybody can try.
I've only got 3 dice in technical. I do
That's
not have
fine,
those
but
skills.
anybody can try.
Prior to anything I may or may not have received from my training with Jada over that span of time.
No, because that is a long time.
Oh,
We'll discuss how that one works off stream.
In
So
that
we're
case,
not-
I'll just go ahead and make the roll either way, since I'm wanting to prove that I have the interest in Jada.
Yep.
Let's go.
anyone or just one?
Anyone.
Anyone.
And so this was a technical roll, you said?
Technical space transport repair.
Alrighty.
Before you roll that, would you like me to roll that? I have a 5 in it.
I'm rolling it so I can get the extra pip.
Yep.
I mean,
Everybody can roll.
Yeah.
okay.
Everybody can roll, so that way you guys can essentially add to that skill.
15. My wild die exploded once.
Nice.
Nice. 7 with a +1 pip for 8. No explosions, no D1s.
Okay.
Or ones on the wild die.
Yeah, you're good.
I got
you're
a
good.
10.
You got a 10? Okay. So Jade is going to basically be taking the underside,
22,
checking everything out there, looking at the weapon systems and
25,
everything else. The
26,
kid just kind of
27,
walks out
28.
looking around while you guys are doing that.
29.
He's not even looking. What was that, 29?
Holy
29.
shit.
Jeez.
Okay. All right, so
Gosh, dang.
yeah, he's not paying any attention to the ship. He's now paying attention to the bay. He's just walking around. So where would Crom like to focus his time on inspecting?
I will anywhere that looks like it's about to break. I'm mostly fixed on shields, so I'm not.
Well, the shields, so you're wanting to look for like the shield generator that would be on the hull or like underneath the hull and stuff like that, like the actual unit?
Yeah, like I'm just looking for where it looks like it's most scorched.
Okay. So you're probably looking at top side of vessel. Richard, I assume, was looking top side. Jada's definitely looking bottom. Zoe, where would you like to look?
Thrusters.
Okay, so you're looking back end. And then Adamox, where would you like to be looking?
I was probably just underside with Jada because I
Sure.
know I understand little enough of this that I probably still need people
You're fine.
pointing things
And
out.
this could probably work into the training. She's probably pointing stuff out, explaining certain things about how the panels are interlinked and things that and how they do and what they do if they're damaged, how to take carbon
I didn't
scoring
go that
off.
far with my thinking. I was just like, I
No.
don't understand this enough, so I'll go somewhere where she
If you've
will
yeah,
probably catch most of it anyway.
if you've
But if
wanted
it
to go
works
through
in,
for
it
training,
works in.
she's gonna kind of go through the whole thing. All right.
I just thought about this.
Hmm.
Zoe's specialty is shooting, but I don't think her guns got damaged, so never mind.
Nope. All right. So as everybody's kind of looking around, um, Richard and Jada are going to be the ones that are going to have to be taken away. But you guys are going to be hearing the familiar voice of Bipto as he shouts out, "Richard!"
Is
Yes?
this in an angry way
Oh,
or?
this is in an angry way.
Time to
Ah.
hide.
Yep. So this Utaran, he basically, like I said, he's about 4 foot tall. He's kind of got like a long head and like a little bit wider, but it's about twice the size of essentially what we would think of as a head. His body is kind of on the smaller side. His limbs are more spindly and thin. He's got about like 3 fingers. His skin's kind of like I think it was like a grayish greenish, and then he's got like a kind of like purpled eye. I guess you're just gonna call them eyes. They're like the big domes and all that kind of stuff, like alien grays and stuff like that, like you'd see in like sci-fi movies.
Why the sneak rolls though?
Don't worry about it.
And then he's got like these two
I don't like
antennae
him.
that are kind of like on the side of his head, kind of like twitchy and things like that. And he says, "Where in the galaxy have you been?"
I decided to make a stop at a black sun planet.
What? Why would you do something so stupid?
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
He will, and then shake his head, and then he'll kind of put out a hand as you see him kind of going. Where's my camera? Kind of going like this, and he says, "Your payment was due last week."
Would I have that on hand?
Huh?
Would
You-
I have that on hand?
Yeah,
Pretty sure. Yeah.
you do, because if your payment is 15,000, and you would have taken the time to look at the satchel, and she
Yeah.
gave you exactly half, so you have 25,000 to your name.
Be like, all right, come on.
All right.
Send the ship.
Yep. So you kind of go down, you walk off and things that now. Adamox, Zoe, and Jada, as you are looking, nothing seems to be out of the place. Everything seems to be pretty good. Crom, you're looking around. You are kind of seeing some damage to the hull, mostly carbon scoring, stuff that can just easily be cleaned off with a little bit of elbow grease. But as you're kind of going around, just as you're getting ready to say, "I'm done, inspection over with," your foot kind of brushes against something, and it's this kind of like little disc shaped thing that does not match anything that the hull has on that ship.
Oh, lovely. The second I see this, I'm gonna pull out my little comm, go Jada, can you come up here? I'm not sure what this is.
Uh, Jada nods her head and says, "This one will be up in a moment, despite the fact you can't actually see her." She'll take the time, kind of get on the lift and things, and she'll go up and she'll meet you where you're standing, and she'll walk over.
I'd probably be following like a lost
Yeah,
puppy.
sure.
Student
So, yeah,
teacher.
Adam Ox right behind.
So
and
that's thankful.
and
Sorry.
so yeah, she ends up basically kind of walking up, asks you to point out what it is or what have you found, essentially.
And I'm gonna point at this disc you said.
Yeah, it's like a disc-shaped object.
Do you have any idea what this is?
Um,
Because I don't remember it being
she
on the ship.
doesn't really require a roll for this one. She kind of knows. As she looks around in like this panicked look and immediately kind of drops down to her knees, and she's kind of got like, in my mind, she's got kind of like overalls, and she's got like various different tools, and you just see her immediately just like bust out a bunch of these tools and starts like cracking the thing open, and like you see her just start pulling wire out, and like this panic like she like removes it from the hull of the ship and then just chucks it off the ship like that's gonna do anything.
Oh, that seems
Just
pretty
gonna look over
definitive.
like,
Please tell me that's
I-
not what I thought it was.
Jada is going to panic and say that at some point in time the DP-28 was tagged with a tracker, she says.
oh,
Goody.
that's
And I'm dealing with Bipto.
Yes, you are. So let's cut to Richard, who's dealing with Bipto. So you basically kind of walk him into the ship and things that he's kind of even though it's your ship, he's still kind of he got his hands behind his back, looking around, going, "I see you taking good care of this dinner plate. Acceptable, acceptable."
Yeah.
As if it's really of his concern. Um, so you kind of go through. He's just talking basic general stuff. You bust out the credits and hand him the 1,500, and he palms it. Kind of gets like this really toothy, like he's got like this really sharp shark teeth type. He says, "Thank you so much for making your payments." He says, and he gets ready to walk off, and by the way, he says, for late payment, he says, and other things that I'm sure you're aware of. He says, 20,000 has been added on to your debt.
So I've heard.
He just kind of takes the credits, he pockets them and things, and he says, well, as always, while I'm here, I don't know why I'm switching voice to that one. While I'm here, is there anything that I could do for you to help you out? He says, do you need any more ship components, parts?
You're gonna need to get with Jada on that one.
I understand. He says, I just figured the captain would know the business of her ship or his ship.
I've been busy trying to get us back. She's been running the diagnostics.
He nods his head and things, and he says, "Oh, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense."
Division of responsibilities makes things a lot more efficient.
He nods his head and says, "Yes. It's very wise of you to do it this way. You are a good captain. You're one of the best that we have." He says.
I try. I've been on time so far.
This last one's a little bit of a splotch on the record, but I mean, bygones can be bygones. He says.
I mean, to be fair, Black Sun, I got as fast as I could.
Yeah, he's like, so I have to know what happened. Well, Jada didn't inform me of the
So,
Black Sun. He says, kind of in like this hushed, angered tone.
so does he know about the job with the rebels?
So he knows that you guys were essentially had picked up. Actually, I don't know if Jada would have told you. Yeah, well I
Is it
think
something that I would have informed him of?
we'll say for ease of everything, so that we have a good base point. I think Richard would know that the rebels were not mentioned at all, that the job was essentially to pick up some cargo and transport some cargo, and it was essentially a side job.
Okay. On our way back, there was a job, pick up cargo, take it a place, some complications, pirates. You know that song and dance.
He nods his head. Oh, it's starting to make more sense now, he says.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so long as trouble doesn't hit my doorstep, I don't care. As he starts turning around, walking away.
Shouldn't.
At that point, Jada's gonna run up. Hello, Pipto. Jada. Just thinking about you. And she just kind of goes like this, and she's, may this one and Richard have a moment. Oh, sure. And Jada walks up to Richard and kind of puts her hand on his back and says, this way, like really quick and hurried.
And I'm gonna follow her.
She basically takes you to your room, pops everything open so you guys can go in, shuts it. Your room is more of a safe haven. You know that you have yours kind of set up that you can, it's more soundproof than anything else on the
Yes.
ship. So it's not easy for people to hear what's going on behind the doors. And Jada just kind of starts doing this with her hands, and she's like, this one found a tracker. Crom found a tracker on the hall. Hall has a tracker. They're tracking us. They tracked us.
Okay.
They tracked us.
Okay. Jada, is it still intact?
No, this one was smart. This one disassembled it. But Jada doesn't know how long they've been tracking or if they have pinpointed or who it was. It was probably the Black Sun. What if it was the Black Sun?
Okay, Jada.
And she starts like hyperventilating.
I'm gonna put my hand on her shoulder and I'm gonna go, calm down. Okay. So, you've already disassembled it.
Yes, this one disassembled the unit. Yes.
So, we need to find a new job very quickly.
So she'll kind of nod her head and she'll
I
say,
love the way he worded.
"Oh yes, oh."
If we're not here, we won't be at their last known location. And if they were tracking us, they might come here, recognize that the tracker isn't here, and leave. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we're finding new employment.
She nods her head and this one understands. Oh, she says, the crew was asking questions about it. She says, but this one was very, very tight-lipped.
Okay. If you would have left it intact, I would have said, let's make a quick jump out of here, shoot it off into space, and let them find it.
Jada then, like, her eyes kind of get big and she's, this one made a grave error.
It's okay. We can salvage
And then
this.
she's just like, oh, if Richard says it's okay. Jada believes Richard. Jada believes
It'll be
Richard.
okay.
But,
We'll salvage this.
Above
Don't
game,
worry about it.
if we do have to find new employment, if the debt collector and the person we owe the debt to dies, doesn't the debt die as well?
Yes, no, you don't know. It all depends.
Well, that depends on someone
logically,
bought the
game.
debt
Above
before
game,
they die.
theory
Yep.
crafting, let's call it.
Yep, there are usually people, especially when you have the debt collectors like that, they usually have backup plans for these types of things. So Jada will then kind of finally calm down and things that, and she say, this one feels composed. And then
Okay.
she will say, yes, Richard can find us more work. DB-28 can leave, and we will be okay. We will be
Okay. So go ahead and get with Bipto. Tell them what parts we need, if any. I will find us a job quickly, and we're gonna get out of here.
Okay. So Jada nods her head and then hits the button to open the door. As it goes by, you see Bipta going, oh, he kind of like puts a hand on the wall. Hello. I just...
Can I help you?
I was just wondering, what, is there anything you needed? Jada says, yes, Bipto. And she kind of walks, puts a hand on his shoulder, and starts walking away as they kind of start talking some parts and things of that. Basically, as you're kind of overhearing, the parts are basically just to kind of clean the ship up, to kind of as a precautionary thing for certain aspects. but she's not going into, since you didn't ask for anything upgraded, she's not going to any upgrades or anything crazy like that. Some of the stuff you can also hear are just in case parts because you know that you're running low.
Yeah.
So they just basically kind of start walking out and going that way, as to where everybody else is kind of probably sitting on the outside going like, you see Jada and Bipto kind of walking out, not paying attention to the crew and just kind of talking business as usual.
Okay, so I'll walk out, look at the crew, and go, "Come here."
I go hither.
Okay.
Everybody else?
Yeah.
Crom?
I'm
Are you
following.
coming? Okay.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, you've got 24 hours. Get what you need. Be back on the ship.
Hey. Why?
I'll tell
Don't
you in
ask
24
questions.
hours.
If he's not telling us, then details later.
I will tell you in 24 hours.
Does Crom know what he found?
If you want, you can give me a knowledge streetwise,
Knowledge streetwise.
or
Okay.
there should be a mechanical for this. I would say mechanical communications.
I can give a streetwise,
All right.
or because I actually have that.
Okay.
I got a 5.
5. No, it must have been something that kind of got pinged on there. You think it's some kind of, how would I put this? You believe it to be
Debris.
kind of, sort of, maybe like the size of it kind of looks like it may have come from like an R2 unit or something like that, like one of their little dish comm things or something like that. You think it's some kind of sensory device or some kind of communications device, but you have not put together that it is a
Tracker.
tracking device. Yeah,
You just know we're no longer getting intergalactic radio.
right. You're like, I really love that station.
Just gonna make sad
How
Wookiee
much
noises.
do blaster rifle blaster packs cost?
Blaster rifle blaster packs, they should be about like 50 credits a pop.
Okay,
Lovely.
so
And I'm
after
pretty
that-
sure the 30 I had on me were taken
Yeah.
by Vanguard when that happened.
So let us get back on track for a moment. We'll discuss that
Sorry.
later. You're fine. You're fine. All right. So what were you saying, Richard?
after that, I will go to whatever area in the company that I get my next job from,
All right.
and I will request a expedited redeployment.
Okay. Let me see here, because you actually have, let's see, or at least you should. Before all this went down, you actually had a job, at least a side gig, of running some spice to the Devorian. So that's something that's
Yeah.
going to be on your mind. That can offer some credits. Let me see. There's that one. There's
So
this one.
my thinking is I've known Bipto long enough
Mhm.
that if I don't leave with another job,
Mhm.
he's going to get very suspicious.
Oh, absolutely. So given that knowledge, we're going to say that you are going to head in there knowing that you're going to, if you wanted to run some spice, you can also run some supplies to PowerPoint Station. But
So
it's good.
ideally, I would be looking for a job that would deliver at the same place that the spice is getting delivered.
Correct. PowerPoint Station is where the spice is. Let's see. I cannot remember the dude's name. Give me just a moment. Why are you
Okay.
not opening? No, that's the ships and stuff. I don't care about the ships. I care about the DeLorean. Good God. Cargo drops.
I care about car-shaped time machines as well.
Right.
There's got to be a new electric DeLorean
graffiti.
for sure. It's already been announced.
I'm sorry, what?
Does it look it up?
Yeah, there's an electric. They're doing an electric DeLorean. It's been announced.
Huh.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Please
Interesting.
tell me it's gonna look like an upgraded version.
Oh, that
Wait,
would be so
actually, if you
awesome.
think about it, an upgraded version of a DeLorean it would just be the Cybertruck.
Pretty much. All right, so
Much
the
better
dude's
looking,
name,
probably.
getting back to the game, dude's name is Ranix. He is a Devorian. You just need to go pick up the spice and essentially haul it to him. The PowerPoint station very frequently ends up needing more supplies and things of that. So you're gonna basically walk in, and there will be a droid that essentially is kind of like floating around, like its torso up as a droid, and it's got kind of like a little hover thing. Um, and it just basically notices you walking in. It recognizes you as one of the captains, and it says, "Ah, Captain Castle, uh, are you here for more work assignments?"
Yes, I'm looking for a quick job, preferably anything at PowerPoint Station.
PowerPoint station, yes. Give me just a moment, and you kind of see like this. One hand's kind of got like actual fingers on it and things that, and the other hand has basically kind of, I can't remember what they're actually called, but the little plug-in things that plug into the ports to basically quickly access information. He plugs it in, and the droid kind of spins everything around, all that stuff. Is PowerPoint station? Yes, PowerPoint station. It appears that they are in need of various different supplies. Appears that they require some food, some drink, as well as some cleaning devices.
Fantastic. Where's the pickup and drop off?
Um, the pickup and drop off is essentially basically just PowerPoint station. I can't remember what the crap it's called, and I'm not seeing it at the moment. So bear in mind, names may change, but for right now, it is going to be in the lower quadrant of uh, quadrant 6. And it appears that you are supposed to uh, drop the parts off, check in, and then visually or not manually, I'll learn to talk here. Transport the goods into their storage facility before receiving credits from um, Ranix, which is common. Ranix, for a quick overview, because Richard would know this, Ranix isn't just a guy that wants spice. Ranix is essentially one of the many seedy underworld kind of people and things that he essentially runs an entire section on this PowerPoint space station. Um, since he runs everything, he provides a lot of the food, the drink, and things that for uh, a bar that he has called the Sendin. Um, so it works out that he is in need of actual supplies, and he also needs his spice. So you know
Perfect. I'll take the job.
exactly where it is. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. There will basically be like a little tablet and things that the droid will basically kind of put all the information on and all that stuff. It takes just a few minutes, and he hands you over the data tablet and says that payment will be completed. He says once everything is dropped off. He says, and they will pay you the credits. The credits should be, I want to say they're $2,000. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it's a $2,000 for the dropping everything off. So
All right.
but yep, at that point in time, you'll actually see Jada kind of walking with like, even though she's kind of calmed down and things, that you've known Jada long enough that she's still on edge, and she's more stiff than she normally is, as she's walking as calmly as she can, and then you hear Bipto say, "I'll let you know when the parts are coming in," and Jada will kind of look back, throw her hand up, and say, thank you, Bipto. You are indeed a fine Utaran." And he'll just kind of chuckle. Ha ha
He'll look at Jada and go, "So, how'd it go?"
ha. Jada will say that This one did not see that there was anything of major, any parts and components that we needed to replace immediately. However, I did request about 500 credits worth of things to replace that are getting old that need to be replaced, as well as a few other things that will go eventually, she says.
So can it handle a couple of pickups and a drop off at PowerPoint station?
Jada will nod her head and she'll say, "This one believes that the ship should be running relatively fine." She says, "For uh, easily that and more." She says, "I this one has a way of babying it." She says,
Fantastic.
"All right."
We take off in 23 hours.
She nods her head and just immediately heads right to the ship. All right. So, does anybody else want to do anything? Yeah.
Mm,
How much is the see where I can see if I can get some replacement parts for my suit.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Okay.
All I know is that my armor plates for my armor are damaged, and I need more power packs. So I was probably gonna try and see what I could do about.
All right. So essentially, while they're taking care of that stuff, you guys are going on a shopping spree.
Pretty much.
Alrighty then.
Yep.
So you guys are going to basically head into town. You've been here long enough. There is a little shop that's going to be called Devro's Goods. And you've been here a few different times. The prices are a little janky sometimes. He quote unquote runs sales, but he just jacks the prices up. You know, kind of like our economy now.
Sales.
Yeah,
His sales are what the prices.
Sales.
yeah, he jacks the prices up so when he goes on his sales and things that it's what you should actually be paying. So yeah, you guys are gonna kind of go in there and you guys are going to be able to buy all the parts. They are gonna have a lot of the things that you need.
God damn it.
You're gonna have what was it, 230 for can't even think, 230 for Zoe's everything Zoe needed part wise to fix everything. About
Yep.
$3,000 for Crom to get everything back to the way it was. And then Atomox, your panels are slightly damaged and things but they're not as bad as you were originally expecting. But it's still going to run you about $1,000.
Can Zoe attempt
That's
to
just
bargain
the armor.
as far as Crom goes?
Yeah. Sorry. I'll
Sorry,
let
no, you first.
Okay. I was gonna say, and that's not including any power packs I wanted to buy, correct?
No. The power packs, however many you wanted, to be 50 times however many.
Okay.
So Zoe's price is inconsequential, but can she attempt to bargain for Crom a little bit?
Yeah, they have a skill for that. It's called bargain. Should be.
I know, I've got it.
Right. All right.
So would I be out that way as well?
You can be.
Got
If you
4
want to
dice
be.
in this.
Nice.
Is that a knowledge
Plus
skill or a
1.
perception skill?
Perception bargains what it is. What was the total?
I'm rolling it now. Okay, that's a 6 on the wild, so
Nice.
6. 20.
20. All right, so that's the number. So, how is Zoe approaching this?
So, Zoe would basically go about it from. It's not necessarily like doesn't necessarily have to be the highest quality parts, but it does need to be functional. And she's gonna basically take a look and see if anything is less. What's the word I'm looking for? Up to spec than he's making it sound.
Okay, so as you kind of start going through this stuff, really nitpicking and like kind of doing all these things, this dude is going to, and it'll be an actual human named Bob. Bob is going to start looking at you rather insulted and saying, "What? Are you implying that my parts are not good enough?"
I'm just gonna walk up behind Bob.
So you're getting behind the counter?
Oh, he's actually behind the counter.
Yeah, he's actually behind the counter. He'd be
Oh,
behind the
okay.
counter.
No, I thought he was like he was walking towards her.
No. My apologies. I kind of assumed everybody knew he was behind the
I,
counter.
yeah, for a second there, it almost sounded like he was getting in my face too.
Yeah, no.
Like,
No, as you're doing that, he verbally attacks you. He doesn't physically confront you.
so is there another roll I can make to see if that is actually the case, or is that a no?
Well,
If I'm there, can I chime in?
huh? Yeah.
I'm gonna look at him and go, Bob. They gotta inspect the merchandise before they look at it. Scratch and dings. Scratch
Good,
and dents.
yeah, good point. And then with Richard saying that, it will be this kind of less aggravated. And as you kind of start pointing out the kind of stuff where you're like, well, this really isn't up and and everything else, he's like, 2,750. He says, I can part forward for that.
I'm gonna look at Richard. It's your call. I can go without it if I have to.
That seems fair. It's your debt.
Not sure. You know what? Sure, why not?
Above game, are we dividing what payment we did actually receive from the
I would have.
thing evenly?
That's so Richard got the money, and that's all his
yeah.
call.
I was double
Yeah,
checking.
from that job, I would say yes.
Alright, so the amount we received was how much? That we actually get to use, I mean?
So essentially, the way that I'm looking at it is
Mhm.
up until we make enough for the ship payment,
Mhm.
it all goes towards the ship. After that, it gets split up.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fair. And I'm
So
assuming
we've
we're all
just
this
made
debt's
the ship
paying back to
payment.
Nipto, right?
Correct.
If I recall correctly, the debt in this is actually going to Richard.
Okay.
Am I right in remembering that, Richard? That he was the one who got the power suit armor
If
from
I
you?
remember correctly,
Yeah.
at the
Oh.
very least, that was Zoe's thing.
Yeah. I thought
Yeah,
Crom
believe
did that
Crom
too.
was also
yeah,
doing that.
Yeah, and then Adamox bought all his stuff outright.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
no. Essentially, you're kind of looking at him, going, "Can I have a pay advance?"
Hey, I'm doing my job.
Mm.
You want me
I have the
alive?
credits, don't I?
Yes, you do have these credits.
Okay. So yeah, we'll do it.
yeah, I'm gonna try and get a portion of whatever I needed from Richard still as well.
Okay, so make sure, Richard, that you are marking down how much the extra money on
So
what Crom
we
owes
got.
you.
So that's 2075.
However, I would still like haven't officially quote unquote bought anything yet. I would like to. I just heard the prices. I would like to try and bargain for the damage part of my armor for whatever I need.
Okay.
So that was it.
You kind of got a little choppy
Colleague
there.
said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're
Apologies.
fine. I think it was your mic.
I'm gonna be trying to also since I only heard the number. Yeah, no, it probably was.
Yeah, you're fine.
Only number. I also want to try and bargain for the repairs with whoever's doing that.
So you're wanting the material and for them to repair it?
No. Just bargaining for what I was whatever I would have been charged for at what it was stated.
Yeah, you're wanting to try to get all the parts for a lesser price.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm not asking for them to do the job for me.
Okay. No, you're fine. You're fine. That was my disconnect. So yeah,
Right.
go ahead
I
and
believe
roll
you said base was 1,000.
bargain
correct?
perception.
Alrighty, which
So-
means straight perception in my case.
Yep. What's up, Richard?
Crom, what power suit did you buy?
Let me see, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
Pretty sure it was the Corellian one, the fancy one
yeah,
that gives you all the strength
Corellian-
stuff.
Yeah, Corellian power suit.
I had a my armor was just like the Versatech's
Yep.
the camo one, and I know I believe we'd said the camouflage function wasn't broken, and I know I already had some backup
Correct.
armor die as
Yep.
well.
This is true.
Math. 12 with 3 4s.
All right. 12 with 3 4s. Okay. We're gonna say that you kind of point out a few things and kind of, like, well, I found this deal over here, blah, 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 everything else. I just don't want to make the trip.
Like, hey man, I get it. You
Yeah.
gotta run a business.
Yeah. So he's gonna drop it down to 950 credits.
All right, and then I'm not gonna try and bargain for the power packs because those are just
Yep.
those are power packs, you know.
Yeah, you would probably end up getting slapped for that one.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
might
trying.
slap you for that one.
Right?
For what? Trying to bargain for the power packs? Yeah, no. In either way, I wouldn't haggle for the power packs.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, so that's a total of 1150 on mine.
All right.
I do have a list of things that I would like to sell.
As do I.
Absolutely.
Can I post that in chat?
Yeah, you can go ahead and post in the chat, and then I can make notes of it, and then we can kind of take care of that stuff off of game.
That reminds me.
Okay, so that's what I want to sell, and I also want to buy scout armor.
Scout armor?
1,000.
I forgot I wanted to sell some things too.
I'll just make a list of it. And let me know.
It's availability
Yeah, it's
3.
actually 1,000. He's got a very special deal going on. Was 2,000, now 1,000.
And I will go ahead and use bargain.
Okay.
6, 11, 22.
22. Okay, so how are you gonna pitch this?
So I'm gonna look at it and go, looking for some scout armor. What have you got?
He's going to kind of say, "Oh, you're just in luck." He said, "We just got some fresh new shipments in," and he'll kind of point over towards like a little dummied kind of thing up, and he'll say that this baby comes straight from the core world. It's like top notch everything. He says, "You want it? It's got it." And he says, "This is actually runs normally 2,000 credits." He says, "But he's because I like you." He says, We'll drop it down to 1,000 because it's on sale," he says.
We both know how your sales work.
"They're wonderful sales," he says.
Yeah, when you advertise everything half off, that's not a sale.
What are you talking about? Everybody loves 50% off. You could be paying 2,000 credits, but you're not. 1,000 credits for this lovely set of scout armor. Think about it, friend. It's easy math.
Or, since I have been a loyal repeat customer, and you do want me to come back alive so I can spend more money, don't you?
Well, I mean, I do
Think of it as a long-term investment.
He's got a boy.
I've been here a lot, and look at all of these customers I brought.
He kind of looks at everybody. He's like, you could bring, like, good customers. He says really quietly.
You're
But I guess
still
a
making
customer's
a
a
profit.
customer. That's right. Customer's a customer. He's like, tell you what, don't let this get out. He says, but for you, 900.
We can work with that. Appreciate the business.
Absolutely. Thank you for your patronage, friend.
And thank you for being
You.
an upstanding businessman.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything for you, my good man.
I do have a list I'm putting that I would also.
So,
Sorry, that I would like to sell as well.
so when you get a moment,
Ironically, it's all
Yep.
stuff I got from that planet.
just let me know when you're done, Alex.
That is
I'm
now
done. I already
Blastfest
put
times
things
2
in.
that I'm selling.
That's fine.
Okay. So, GM.
Yep.
Zoe checked the gear on her person. So
Yeah.
she pretty much knows that she could technically sell just about everything but the damaged blaster rifle,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you could probably even sell
Okay.
the blaster rifle. They'll just end up doing it'll just be less because they
Alright,
can
she'll
always fix
keep.
them. You good?
She will keep
Mm-hmm.
the heavy blaster pistol because that's better than the one she had.
Yeah.
She's pretty much going to try to sell, not the smoke grenade. That's staying with her,
Yeah.
but pretty much everything else other than the what she just stated.
Right.
Hey, sorry. The holdout blaster takes the same kind of takes its own power pack, right?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to verify that before. Continue.
Okay, so
In
in
that
the
case-
list here, I'm seeing that. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, so Zoes want to get rid of
Wow.
the sporting and the blast vest.
Yeah, and the helmet because it's like I got a blast helmet
That's
vest,
fine.
sporting blaster. I'm not done.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
it'll make it easier, I can put it all in one.
Yeah, if you can, like I says, that will be good because I don't want to waste the time on stream to go through. So,
Yeah, I'll just
So hold on.
yeah, just kind
I'll
of get your
fix that.
lists, type them up
again.
however you need to, and things that, and then we deal with the credits. So, and we're kind of getting close on time, so we can
Well,
probably.
If you wanted to end at 8, we're already 15,
Yeah.
or I guess 3/4 past.
Yep. 2 minutes and 40.
Okay, there's
2
the
hours
proper
and
list.
40 minutes.
Oh, wait, hold on. I only have one holdout blaster. I don't know why I put it twice.
You're fine. So,
That's staying with me.
alrighty then. So I think now, like I said, so we'll kind of
Included on the holdout blaster, by the way, unused.
Yep. We'll go ahead and then do some of the fun, not so fun shop stuff and things that kind of off the stream. So we won't have to let
Alright.
everybody suffer through
You
it.
can write it down
Because
later.
if anybody has ever played these games, you know how the shopping episode kind of works. So there's no reason to go through it. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I had a lot of fun. It wasn't combat, but it was still fun. What'd you guys think?
It was still rather enjoyable.
I still got to drop somebody.
There you go.
Literally.
Accurate.
Right?
I still had the opportunity to stab someone. I didn't take it, but I had the opportunity.
You
And that's
did have
what
the opportunity. I
And
could see
I'm
that.
proud
Like
of
she'd be
you for
knocked
that.
out, and Adamok's just like stab, stab,
Too
stab.
bad
You
I have
didn't
such a
even have to let somebody die for this opportunity.
too bad on
Jesus
Aya's
Christ.
personality.
I mean, it
She's kind
just
of
saved
cute.
their lives, so I didn't want
But
to
too
try to
bad.
kill them right after.
Right. Know what you're saying, Zoe?
Too bad about Aya's personality. She would have been cute otherwise.
Oh well. I mean, everybody's got their thing. I personally like how Jada functions. She's one of my favorites so far.
Oh
Jada
yeah,
does seem like a very fun character.
Yeah,
Jada is a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Jada is so far the most fun that I've put together. I love Nina. Of course, I know a lot more about these characters, but like Nina, Whisper, Bipto is going to be kind of a interesting one, I think, once we get around to it.
It's gonna be like a recurring side character that we just have.
Even
to
the shopkeep is being
times.
a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Oh, and
absolutely.
Oh yeah, I
Well,
love the shop.
yeah, say Richard knows how I play. For the most part, like I says, I try to, even if it's on the fly, I always try to give anybody, if you guys ever want to interact with NPCs, go ahead. I will try to pull something out of my keister to kind of
yeah,
bring it
I
more fresh.
appreciate that, Tim. I was not trying to strong arm the guy. I was trying to point that out.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Um,
No, that's why I asked if I was there.
yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to come at it from like the more casual kind of
Oh, I
not
know.
strong army
I know.
approach as well. Just like, hey man, look, I know
Well,
you got a business to run, but
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
gotta stay alive.
Because I know, like with
I don't come back. That's still money lost on your end.
yeah, because I know like the way Zoe, like some of the words that I heard Dead Man Bones saying, it seemed more of a trigger because the role was more than enough to convince them. But the couple words that you use, like, yeah, no, that's going to be enough to kind of upset them. But when Richard kind of popped in and said, hey, and kind of smoothed things back up, it kind of negated some of the choice words used. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I said when I do the rolls and things that I don't always. Sometimes I'll go right straight to the rolls. If you beat it, you beat it. If you don't, you don't. But I do like to incorporate a lot of RP with it. So a lot of times, if you can give me something convincing, if you can seduce me with your logic, I am all for that.
All right. So to be clear, that blast helmet and vest is not Zoe's actual blast helmet and vest.
Okay, you're fine.
I don't think
I
that
know.
needs to be said, but I'm
Those
just
No,
are
I'm
the
saying.
not
two
gonna do that.
random
So,
concussion helmets I picked up.
alrighty then. So, I still have not really come up with much of a sign off phrase. I was thinking of one, but I just haven't had it polished yet. So I was thinking something kind of like the uh I don't know, something kind of like the well, I'm trying
Dice,
to think.
dorks, and dangerous, so why not roll out and stay dangerous?
Possibly, but I was kind of thinking of God, see, I had it today. I was thinking about it and I couldn't. So we'll go with that one for now. So roll out and stay dangerous, y'all. Bye. I'll come up with one good one one of these days. I promise you. One day it will happen.